Peace, family. Let's see. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to add that to the stage. Why? My audio is removed. I don't know why it is removed. That's really weird. Okay, now I'm getting strange. Oh, I see. Okay, there we go. I think that's right. Um, Peace and blessings. Anyone who is joining in, if someone in the chat can let me know that you can hear me, because the last time I did a live, it was this strange metallic kind of feedback that was really annoying. So if you can hear me clearly, please hit 1 in the chat. I see there's 4 people here, so maybe one of them can do that for me. I would be very much appreciative of that. And I'm not trying to, oh, thank you, Sister Deborah. Thank you so much. Glad to know that. Now I can get down to business. I wasn't trying to come up here today. I didn't want to stop sharing. I want to keep sharing. I want this to go, there we go, like that. Okay. Let's see now. Yeah, that's good. Let me go on over to actually my first story, or can I just do that? Let's see how that winds up looking. Oh, that's lovely. I had no intention of coming up on here, but there was an 8.8 quake in, I can never get that name of that Russian territory hanging out above Japan and into the Pacific, Namlechek, something or other. And it was a very shallow type of quake. It was only 20 kilometers deep, which makes it about 11 miles deep. And fortunately, I didn't assess that there was a lot of there was some damage, but I didn't get an impression that it was deadly. I've been busy all day long, so I haven't had a time to check. Let me go check on that right now and just confirm, because that's the reason why I chose the title I did, because if there had been loss of life, let's see, 8.8 quake in Russia. I avoid the AI as much as I can. They're forcing it down our throats for a reason. Who is it? Let's see. They had the name of the town right there. Russia, earthquake, tsunami highlights, Chile upgraded. Usually if there's some deaths, unfortunate deaths, then they lead with that. And so far, this is still 36. This is a report from 36 minutes ago, and none of these tsunamis have occurred other than as warnings. And that's why I decided to discuss this in the manner that I have, so that would seem as if it's tongue in cheek. You know, it's an earthquake. How can surviving while black, either through the apocalypse or, you know, whatever type of catastrophe happens, how can that have anything to do with earthquakes? But it's not just, you know, haphazardly related. It is directly consequential to the experience that we've had with these folks since they left the caves. And I'm just pointing it out as demographic truth, historical truth, not as an insult, because we're all so just beguiled and hypnotized by the false narrative that they put out there before us, that it winds up making absolute sense the way that they are handling the reality of Fukushima fallout and fall in to our planet, which is why there are massive quakes. So let me go on right on over to the US GPS map. Let's see now. Let's get this to. There we go. That's what I want. Oh wait, no, I forgot to come back over here to StreamYard and do that. I like that. And go back over to the USGS. There we go, right there. Okay, now this one all the way in the back is the original quake. And that is really frightening when you've got a 9, did you feel it, level of, you know, just people's response to the frantic activity of the earth shaking underneath your feet. That's some scary stuff where you really don't know where to hide, where to go, how to survive. And that's what we've been experiencing since these folks left the caves. And just like when I come over here to the USGS map, it's just been getting more frantic. The rocking and the just the outcome of believing these people, of giving them authority over all things. Now, in saying that, I in no regard mean harm to anybody. I am so grateful for those who have patience with the mentally ailing. That's one of the most pronounced, difficult diagnoses to deal with, because you can't see any visible scars, and thereby you kind of would want to just, you know, like, oh damn, you crazy. And I remember one time I was in Whole Foods, and there was a woman in line ahead of me who was not having a good day. She's a little old white woman, and she was starting to have a conniption fit. And I just, in passing, because I was like, oh no, please, I need to get my food through. I said to the other white woman behind me, I was like, oh, somebody didn't wake up on the right side of the bed. And she said, I'm a psychiatrist or some sort of mental whatever thing like that. And she says, I understand. And she, you know, what might be going on with her. And then she went to interact with the woman to help her process whatever it was that she was going through. And it got processed, because I surely am not still standing in that line waiting to pay for my food. And in saying that, what I mean is, I don't think we can't, it's not that I don't think, we can't change white people. This is a biblical end of days scenario. You can't therapyize the devil. However, you should be following the commands of the one and only. I call him Allah because that's how he came to me. He came to me in the person of an amazing man, Dr. Shi, and I had asked for that specifically. So I know that that's what he meant. He came to me as Allah. And so I follow his commands. And I also really appreciate the Quran in that standpoint, because it says don't just, turn the other cheek if somebody's coming at you. Defend yourself. That's a real good thing. But at the same time, don't imitate the devil trying to outwit the devil, because he uses that against us. However, as social media became more specific in its censorship, you got a lot of white people out there who think that we're like them. And we're not. We're not. Otherwise, there'd be no people on this planet, because we are the Aboriginal people. And thereby, they were just really like, oh, all we have to do is just stoke these black people this way. Just keep, sending out all the little propaganda, and we'll be able to get them to start burning down their neighborhoods again. Right? But I don't know what the evidence was for in terms of that it was us specifically causing the riots of the civil rights era and burning down different buildings in the black community. But I think overall, we sort of learned a really good lesson that made no damn sense. All we wound up doing is destroying our own economic ability to be independent from white people, and as best a regard as possible. That's easier when you're living around lots of other black people. And so them with the, like all the riots, that's so-called riots, that's what they were hoping that they would be called as, but with I don't want to call George Floyd, but there was enough. Mike Brown, when that happened and there were, different responses, it didn't turn out the way that they wanted it to, because they want the conflict. They want chaos and madness, because then we're not going to notice this, not only this 8.8 quake, you're not going to notice a sister like me who for 14 years now has been getting it right and precise as to what we have to look forward to because of the radiation. When I first started doing this investigation, I wasn't so sure about what I was saying. I even would hold back and say, well, I don't know if I want to say that it's potentially going to kill billions, but now I can definitively say, if we do not take a sister whose channel is hidden, oh my goodness, please believe that there's no such channel that actually has an authentic 1 million subscribers or 100,000 subscribers or whatever, who is talking about anything that white people feel threatened by. Not a single one, right? Even at 50,000, even 20,000, they're not worried about you, okay? And so if we don't take a black voice driven to keep going over the details to the point where people are like, oh, damn, she talking about radiation again. When? Is it plutonium? 237, I do believe. I'm not so sure. 140. They got these numbers on them because there's so many different types. But plutonium has a full life, not a half-life. Let's skip over the half-life of 270,000 years. You're going to get bored with plutonium? Trust and believe. The plutonium won't give a goddamn. All right? It won't give a damn. So I knew when I started really understanding this, I was like, oh, doggy, I'm going to have to just talk about this until we firmly understand enough so that others say, what the hell? You got one black woman talking about this when this impacts all of us? All of us, your children, right? That's why I'm talking about how you can survive an 8.8 quake, the apocalypse, Armageddon, whatever you want to call it, while black. You got to love it. Love us beyond your embarrassment that they have carefully infested us with. So we think, oh Lord, I got so many links up here. I'm going to go through every single one. I thank you for joining. You are so precious to me. Forgive me for my enthusiastic dedication to saving your life, because you all by yourself, just like me all by myself. If we don't wake up our people, ain't worth crap. Right? Ain't one person all by their, prepper self gonna be able to withstand the forces of an 8.8 quake and all the other things that radiation causes unless we work together. Right? And so there's this, I don't even remember what the heck I was talking about, but I was just being grateful to you for being here to just find out what I got to share. All right. So this brother right here, let's expand it again. Oh, I don't know why I went like that. Okay. There we go. Let's try that. Okay. There we go. This brother right here, good looking brother. I have to say that. It is because I'm always, complimenting sisters, because as sisters, we feel the derision that's been thrown at us. And a lot of us have succumbed to different habits so that we are diminishing the force, the energetic ferocity of our melanin, and that has an impact over what we do to our hair, to our features, all the rest of it. So I tend to not give the brothers their credit, because brothers, whoo, these lucky women. That's all I can say. All right. So cop's shocking act, and I can't show the video, but by now everybody has seen this, where this police officer it was him right there with his big old nose. Okay. Smashed his front window, side window, and put his head all in there over him not having a light on his car. Now, what was astounding to me was not this story. I didn't even read this story because this is Daily Mail and they're thoroughly racist. They're so racist. The Freemasons, I'm quite sure. All right. But it was the comments. I was like, whoa, this is why they started immigration in Europe, because these are mostly United Kingdom that are commenting like this. All right, need police like that here. So I don't want to see all of them, but I'm just saying, I put a response to this that was immediately removed. All right, where I said, oh no, it wasn't this one. It was the brother who was the hero, who stopped mass murder in a shopping mall. And he's an ex-Marine. And let me come on over to StreamYard again. Here we go. And I don't know if I'm showing the maybe I wasn't. Oh my goodness. I don't think let's see, a week ago they started their second rounds of radio. Yes, I heard about that. I thank you for reminding me. I should talk. Oh, Sister Gwen B. Oh, my queen. It's so good to see you, sister. I don't want to remove that. I know what I'm doing. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Now I've forgotten again what I was. Oh, right, the brother who stopped the shooter by aiming his gun at him, which was fantastic. But the way he aimed it was sideways. Like, the stereotype is that that's something that our Black youth do in the hood. They aim the gun sideways. And I don't know about the, efficiency of aiming a gun that way. The only way I learned is, you dip your knees a little bit so you could get better accuracy. But I ain't mad at the brother. He was definitely intimidated so that nothing popped off because the guy was stabbing people with a knife. And he saved lives. We don't know if anybody would have died or not, but inevitably he did life-saving, just bravery right there. And in the comments, it was astounding how many of these pale people were going on about how, oh, what's up with the, holding the gun sideways? What, that's some, you know how they love to be insulting and cruel, right? But in Daily Mail, then that's what they want. That's what they want. That's why all them immigrants were shipped up there, because they needed common white people to pivot all their just dissolution into barbarism, because you can only pretend to be civilized for so long when you really aren't. Otherwise, if they were really civilized, they would have stayed in Europe. There would have never been, like, what is it? When the Christians were going down to the Middle East, they would have just stayed where they were and done what they did. They would have been like, why would we want to go to other people's lands and steal their stuff? That's awful. Okay. And so that is something that is just in their nature to be. It's not simply just an intellectualized conclusion on their part. I don't think you can intellectualize it being really, really awful. All right. And so I got to keep all my points together. This is why I kind of like to just edit stuff together better, because I can just go all over the place. And I don't want to do that to you. But as I was saying with the immigration, they were, like bringing all the immigrants up because they very much want these common white people to pivot on us as they slowly lose the ability to just have a faith and morality. And I don't mean all white people. No, I don't. Right? But in order to keep their fragile sense of superiority, these dudes have got to maintain absolute and total control over their idea that everybody who's non-white is barbaric. When it's them, when you look at their dictionary, the way that they would describe us is what they are doing naturally, even against other white people. That is the definitive proof that this is not just something we're doing to them, because they've always treated their own like crap. Like crap. Now they're like, oh, they're, the small hat people are hunting the white people. Right? The small hat people are white people, and you hunted yourselves. Okay? And so when it comes to, you can't see, I know. I didn't know that you couldn't see the screen before, but now let me go on back over there. And now you'll be able to see the screen. And let me go back to the Quake. Here's the Quake 8.8. That's pretty huge. But the more I read, like right now, I'm reading The Woman Who Knew Too Much, Alice Stewart, and the Secrets of Radiation. I have absolutely no problem thanking Alice Stewart for her brave, detailed, painstaking research. This woman was she was a great white woman. I'm not saying they're not capable of doing amazing, wonderful things. No. But they're being stoked. They're being Edward Bernays guided, socially engineered to pivot everything on Black us, so that we continue out of a fear base to attribute all our ills to Black us. Right? There's this used to live in China YouTuber who, simply because I don't want him to change his content, I don't highlight his name. Also, at this point in time, I don't like speaking folks' names if I don't agree with you, unless you're a white person.
If there were anybody who came out, like if Tariq Nasheed, him I'll mention. But if he ever did a video where he tried to explain radiation in terms where it was beneficial to the nuclear industry, I would tear him apart. Tear him apart and use his name all over the place. Okay? But there's a certain line where I'm just like, I wind up looking like I'm the one who's being petty when I have more than enough data to prove everything that I'm saying. All right. And so this Chinese he's not Chinese, but he used to live in China, black guy, not black like, I should say. And that you should understand what I mean when I say that. And so he was doing a live the other week where he loves to call a Chinese out as racist, which I find really, really pathetic in a hysterical sort of way, because our enemy is not the Chinese. Not yet. They're getting there. Okay. They've been recruited, stupid as they are, okay, by the satanic elites up at the very tippy top of all of this. And I don't mean presidents or billionaires, Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. I don't mean them fools. Okay. The Chinese, he loves to showcase how racist they are by these little things, like a Chinese woman will go up to a black baby. There's a lot of Africans, dumb as heck, living in China. And they'll go up to a black baby and go, oh, how cute. And they'll film them, put it on their, Douyin account. And then everybody commenting will start calling the baby a monkey. He must be stupid. Just stop. Really? In the grand scheme of things, with an 8.8 quake happening and more are going to come, that's going to become normal after a while with those cores in the core of our planet. Right? We got far bigger fish to fry that have been fried, actually. Right? There's far more going on this planet than worrying about how Chinese people don't like us. So big freaking deal. Stay in China. That's my issue with them. They've been recruited. They have been recruited to, God dang, to just be a part of the script of taking over Africa. This was the reason why they had to conflate the arguments between us and Africans, because a lot of Africans are really just suck-ups for white people and for Asian people, because they've been so just defamed and diminished in their ability to feel pride over their culture. They think culture is fancy cities, and no, it's not. Civilization is the ability to get along with others. And until the white folks came up, they did their best. They got along. There certainly weren't any genocides. There wasn't any Rwandan genocides going on until the French and the Americans showed up. And so to look at China as it's such a big deal, whoa. And so what really tipped me with this dude was the way that he was so scared. He was so scared to talk against the white people. Right? Here he is trashing the Chinese for this little insignificant. I'm not saying it's not significant, but I ain't going to China. And if I did, I wouldn't be expecting them to go, oh, it's a fabled black woman. We love her. I would never go in the first place. Okay? If I went, I'd have to go with like about 100 of you, consciously aware, not agents, black people, to be with me, to be part of our nation, because you are only as powerful an individual as your nation is to protect you. I wouldn't be stupid enough to go on over to China and think that I'm going to be treated with any kind of equality, any kind of like, oh, you black people, you've taught all of us how to be just so, wonderful. I don't expect anything from anybody who's not black. I expect the worst, the worst. And if I get something good, all right, that's a nice surprise, right? And so this dude, when he suddenly started talking, after he was talking about the racism from the Chinese people, he suddenly started talking about how, but the white people over, he started saying how we black people have no cohesiveness. We're against, we're fighting each other all the time. And, we're doing like, he's always like the Hoteppers. And we are just the most horrible people. But I'm just like, so what makes you different from the Chinese people who are putting us down? And you're even worse because you're black. You're black-like. Okay? And then when he started to mention white people, all of a sudden he stammered a little bit. And he was just like, but the white people, and he's so pro-Trump. And I'm just like, how can you be pro-pedo? How in the world? When I look at the whole Trump narrative, that was the plan, that's what's his face? Epstein was all about. Epstein wasn't the only pimp out there hired by Mossad to do exactly what he was doing. So he had cameras on everything that was going on. And that's why the Democrats are only saying so much, because they're on camera too. So they always plan on getting President Pedo up in there. And Trump ain't the first pedo president, and neither was Biden. I'm sure Obama, I've seen compromising photos of Obama. Okay? He was pedo. He was raised by his grandpa. I'm sure he was pedoed up the place. Okay? That's my firm conclusion. Right? And so, how you not gonna look at what these people do and then make a general conclusion that the Chinese are the worst? I'm not saying that they're the best. They're definitely not. But China has been beguiled and dragged into Western plans for the world decades, centuries back, right? There was a routing of the Summer Palace. One of their empresses, her Summer Palace was destroyed. Okay, I think that's with the Opium Wars. That's when they were just like, okay, we ain't gonna win this thing. Their mindset was all messed up. And so they just recruited all these different Asian, like unknown, poor dudes to go on over to Russia. And suddenly they come back with communism to, fix everything. It's all going to be wonderful. And that's not what it was. If you actually read the Red Book is pretty dang viciously genocidal. It's all about just like whatever you got to do to be in charge. If you got to kill everybody, just kill them. Okay? So I'm not giving any kudos to China, but I'm just saying these two, they all work together. And I don't know, maybe somebody else is putting those puzzle pieces together, but your sister right here is, including the one about an 8.8 quake. So if we're gonna stand a chance at what the hell radiation is doing to this planet, you best listen up and share for real and support. We got, oh my goodness, our website, 25000yearcycle.org. We ain't joking. I gotta thank Brother H. And I hope you got my correction. Some people you will know because you'll be able to tell me what went wrong. At first I was like, okay, I can't say anything publicly because then people would just say, oh yeah, I got that problem, whatever thing. Right. But there was one product where I was trying to do it really wonderfully by, doing this and that to it to make it better. And it wasn't better because I'm just regular people and I don't have a big lab. I should have a lab because I'd be testing your food for radiation. All right. Oops. What? Okay. Sorry about that. But I don't have that. So Brother H, I thank you. I hope you got your extra, just gift because I was just saying, all right. And dear sister, I do believe it's in. I only put the initial because there's something about what I talk about that is just like, whoa, it's wild. Nobody else wants to talk about it. So what's this one? I got a bunch of stuff up here and I'm going to go through it all. Trump's chemtrail task force exposes DARPA plot to murder 170 million Americans. And this stuff is based on real agencies. DARPA is a real agency, okay? And why are you just talking about the damn chemtrails? Okay, everybody, they got these side things that I'm not saying they're not for real, but why nobody is mentioning that damn radiation? As I'm going through, where did I put the book? Oh, it's on my lap. I went through Rosalie Bertell's book. I've gone through so many other books. Every single one is like a synchronized water dance where they all reveal this is against their military laws to talk about radiation if you are signed up to be an expert, and even if you are waging interference, which is what I'm doing and will never stop, because I do not support genocide. Okay? You can't talk about this stuff, and they all get censored. They all do. And I am not joking. And when I go to different platforms, I know already stuff is going to change when I show up. Stuff is going to change because even though when you look at my subscribers, it's like, I don't know, 1.3 or something. I don't know. I don't pay that much attention anymore because it doesn't matter. But I know they pay attention because they know we're not like them. They know that. J.D. Vance was over in England or something or other, and he was telling the European leaders that, don't worry, we have more in common with England and with Europe than we do with anybody else, trying to say, no, we're not going to get close to India or China. If they feel that way about people who are just holding on to a kernel of more intensified melanin, they know that about us too. Right? So all this, America the brave, diversity, and all of that, they don't mean. They lie. They lie all the time. So if we stand a chance against the levels of damage that radiation causes, that they have fully documented, they know every single aspect of it, but they'll never announce it in their papers. Okay? Then we have to break free. We have to break free of this beguilement that they placed on our minds and our bodies and our spirits, so that we just automatically defer to this like magical type of thinking about them. And it's killing us with the CMOS. It's killing us. It's like we're almost like that Chinese. I mean, not Chinese. He might as well be Chinese. Okay, but he's so upset that China doesn't love him. I ain't upset about nobody who don't like us. I don't give a goddamn. I love us. I know who we are. I want nobody else but us. Right? So we're almost like him, where we're just like, oh, don't say anything against the white people. But when it comes to black people, oh, we're like this, we're like that, and we're fighting, we're ratchet, we're hoods, we're this. Stop it. That's not us. All I have to do is mention the Million Man March, where we left the place cleaner than it was when we got there. When we are building, when we are inspired, we accomplish civilization for real. Not for fake. Not as in the Rosalie Bertell book. She was saying that there's a book called something, Trip to Stone Mountain, something or other like that, or Iron Mountain, where they had a meeting, a world global meeting, and secretly they all agreed the only way for them to stay in charge is through war. War, that's what they do. So their favorite genocidal weapon, radiation, they ain't getting rid of that one because that's the one that's just really going to take out 170 million Americans and more. We see them passing away right now. And this was something that I had warned about, 13 years ago, 12 years ago? And that's when I was like, oh, I don't know. Should I say what I think is going to happen because the science of radiation? Yes, I should have. But at the same time, if I'd have said it back then, you'd have been like, no, that's not possible. Because I got people who I'll invite to my channel. And because I'm just emotive, I'm a Black woman. I'm just, I be feeling it, okay? They're like, oh, no, but she's not professional. Does she? Where do her credentials come from in order for her to speak on this? Research, non-stop research. Okay, that's where my credentials come from, and from being us, having that melanated DNA. That's where my credentials come from. Okay, where's yours coming from? You so beguiled by the white people, you need their accolades in order to feel as if you've accomplished something. Right? So, yeah, they ain't going to show anything about this. Now, what's the other one here? Surveillance video shows moment when small plane crashed in the storage unit near Lowell City Airport. The radiation goes in every single level of existence. It's in the air. It's in the water. It's in our food. It's in the ground. It's in the core of our planet. At this point in time, when I'm looking at the earthquakes, I'm just wondering, with all that pressure that's going everywhere, is the planet just going to explode? I'm telling you how to survive now, not how to be, fearful. Bow down to the one and only, because he said, I ain't forget how to create existence. What do you think I am, dumb? Hey, he said that. That's what we all got to be doing, right? So that he can see you as one person. He sees you. He sees you. He knows you in depth. You are powerful. As powerful as all the prophets, right? Because when he sees your deeds, he sees your heart and your soul. He ain't going to let you go down with these devils. You survived. Now, are there white people out there who might survive? I'm not the Most High. I have never claimed to speak to him personally, to know him personally, or anything. But he said he's coming for principalities. If you're an individual white person doing the right thing, he is not going to be mad at you. He's going to save you too. But are you doing the right thing? Are you like those people in the comments going, oh boy, look at him. What kind of way is that to save them? Somebody, I remember I was about the brother who stopped a mass stabber in a shopping mall. I was going to say that I had put a comment where I was saying every single race and nation of people have their own idiosyncratic tendencies, behaviors. That's their culture. If their culture is a benefit to you and it saves your life, you might be imitating them too. So I put that as a response to a dude who was just making fun of the brother who's, you call that a Marine? I know he didn't learn that in the Marines. And then they were also applauding Daniel Penny, who that man that he killed in the subway, murdered, wasn't endangering anybody's life. He wasn't stabbing anybody, right? But this brother, who unfortunately was a Marine, right? He was just doing something that he was feeling the truth in himself. And so he held it in a manner where his passion to save people was expressed. That's our culture. That's our melanin. That just leads us. Like, I've seen people who will leave comments in other places, not even just to flatter me or something. And they're like, yo, that's just the she for real. Right? Because my responses haven't exactly tuned to the timing of the melanin. Okay? It's a synchronicity. It's a frequency. It's a rhythm. It's a song. It's just in tune with the entire universe. Okay? That's not a bad thing. That's why I ain't upset when white people or Asian people or whatever are making fun of us. I look at them and I pity them because they're too stupid to recognize who we are and to admit it even more so. A lot of them do recognize who we are and who they are, but they're too cowardly to accept that truth. But that's their problem. That ain't our problem, right? So with radiation in every single realm, it's in the air, it's affecting the airplanes. But these dudes be out here lying about Boeing. When I did the research on Boeing, ain't nothing but like 0.07% of Boeing maintenance staff or any staff whatsoever that's black. But they want to lump all that DEI. They're using that just like they use the immigration up in Europe. Because what, did the immigrants force themselves into Europe? No, they were invited in. They were allowed in. Okay? They use that to get the white people looking at black you and me. Because that CMOS and whatever else they're sending strictly to the black community, as Ernest Sternglass, a nuclear physicist, proved was happening with the radioactive milk, just like they did with that. Whatever is like off the scale, they'll ship it right to us. That's what the whole vaccine thing was about. Where they're like, oh, the KKK is coming into the black community, spreading something that doesn't even exist on doorknobs and handles. Because they want the black people to be so paranoid that we race in and get that damn jab. Now, I'm not saying the jab isn't rotten, awful. Yes, it is. But that way they could hide the die-off because it's the radiation they're shipping in. We need our food tested. And I know the food in the black community will be bristling with radiation because we are still small percentage. I think we're about 15% of the US population. That's huge in numbers. We are bigger than a lot of small nations out here. But at the same time, our die-off right now, among our youth especially, is like almost 50-50. Just like when I went and I showed that the stillbirth rate amongst black infants is higher than any other race of people in the USA. Black babies. What? We're the strongest people on this planet. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying it is what it is. And our babies are weak? That doesn't make any sense. Our babies come out doing leaps and bounds beyond all the other races of children. I didn't make that. It's not meant to be an insult. We've been running around with white Jesus on the wall forever. Never occurred to us. What the hell? Never ever thought about it. Until now, until the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But I'm just saying, we didn't think that was an insult. We were like, okay, this is the guy who's bringing some wisdom. Let's listen. Right? And so for us to just have our babies dying like that, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. Unless Ernest Sternglass, when he gave that report, they didn't stop. Right? So the airplanes with the Boeing, where they were blaming the Boeing, no, these are the planes that crashed the most, okay? These small little planes, like this is 1 week, nobody died with this one, where, I don't know where where's the headline? There it is. Light aircraft crash lands at Westdale Airport in Gippsland. I guess this is in Australia. They're crashing all over the place. This one right here. 3 people killed in plane near West Yellowstone. They aren't going to tell their own rich white people what the hell's going on. So they're dying left and right. And do not make the mistake of thinking they're all getting along just swimmingly. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're fighting. They're scrambling to put this narrative together because you've got employees out there promising these satanic elites everything. Oh, we're going to get the black people doing this. We're going to get them loving Puff Daddy. we're going to get, them thinking that Puff Daddy Diddy is worse than worse than Epstein. We're going to have Justin Bieber walking around looking like a big giant crackhead. And then we're going to, one day, sooner or later, we're going to bust it all open. He's going to be on camera crying, oh, God, what Diddy did to me? You see how thin I am? Ozempic. Okay? So I'm just saying, in terms of how they always try to pivot it on us, and then there they are killing their own ad nauseum. There are more people dying in these small engine crashes than in all of the big commercial jets out there, okay? And large planes. One dead, one injured in jet crash near Granite Falls Airport. I mean, I got so many of this crazy. So yeah. Then I didn't line these up in any particular way, but you know what? Let me come on over before I go to that one, because I just want to make sure that everything is beautiful. Get out. It's Yubba. Yay! Hey, my brother, how you doing? If it's blowing, I ain't going. You are wonderful. I love you. I know your children do too. With that good dad humor. Don't worry, Dr. She has the same dad humor sometimes too. But anyway, what do you say? We're so bad. We never drop atomic bombs. That's right. On innocent people. Oh my God. We don't have we don't have global conflict going on everywhere. We didn't crash the ecosystem. We didn't create GMOs. Exactly. These people just be like full of crap with all this stuff. Now, where was I? Iconic California beach closed after aggressive. Check that out, right? Shark was spotted devouring a sea lion. He's not aggressive. He's starving to death. Which reminds me, I'm going to put a link to this share that was done by Dana Durnford. Dana, he says this is his last show. But there's some serious stuff happening. He's not just doing this as like a passing threat of some sort. His pension has been stopped altogether, where in about a couple weeks, he's going to be homeless, right? And they've been going at Dana like ad nauseum. There's this Japanese guy who's always calling in and saying, Mr. Dana, we're coming for you. And I know from all my reading that that's just their level of censorship. That's their level of control they insist upon in order to conduct this nuclear hegemony, strategy. And so this right here, I can't share all the things that Dana was sharing, but it's just, okay. As I say, he's documented the die-off of the ecosystem up in British Columbia. Kevin Blanch has documented it too. Luckily, I don't live on the West Coast. Otherwise, I would have gone and documented these things also, but I ain't going on over there, okay? And so he has these headlines that are just going to showcase 100%. They know about all of this. For them not to even mention it tells you this is a war strategy. Rain with 20 million particles of radioactive iodine-131 per liter. That would be even a cubic liter of rain. So that means throughout an entire rain, there would just be like bristling amounts of radiation fell on U.S. during post-Fukushima peak. So it fell everywhere. But I have videos where I was going over how sick people were when they ran a mud race. And there are certain parts in California where people have gone swimming in a hot pool and they died. And I would say definitively that's because it's just that damn radioactive. So let me put the link down here, and let me get rid of that right there. Here we go. so that you can watch that, right? I'll be just absolutely upset if Dana can't do any more videos, even though, woo, he's such a white guy. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say because I want to be nice. All right, but at the same time, it's only one planet, and the work he's done is absolutely essential. Essential. And I'd imagine that's why they're hunting him as ferociously as they are. So I hope he could stay. I hope he could come back. It's crazy. But in terms of the death of the ocean, this was just ridiculous, this story right here. Influencer sparks debate. They're having these influencers and the starlets do all kinds of stupid things in order to get people to just be so distracted. The orgies are coming. I predicted them, I don't know, maybe about 5 years ago. By the time I put it on camera, I've already been considering it for a couple years before I mention it. And I just knew, it's like, it's obvious they want to hide Fukushima. They want to hide what man-made radiation does. They're going to have to come up with every single distraction they can, including, as I said, chaos, pure deluxe chaos, war. They need war in the unentitled snakes of America. Right? And so to get the oceans, the Pacific Ocean, and they've been starting to do this on the Atlantic too, to get it not to glow anymore with these bioluminescent life forms, they've started releasing pure raw sewage, poo, into the oceans. Besides being a cholera threat, right? It's also, they're just like, look, it's killing all the phytoplankton. We need some other types of life forms in there. We need bacteria up in there. And so people are going to notice that the water, because they've been having, you can't go swimming here. There's a sewage contamination on the West Coast. And so they want to make people think that this is okay. So now they're going to, when they first make fun of someone doing something ridiculous, trust and believe, in 2 years, they want everybody to think this is normal. Just like, oh, you will eat the bugs. Nobody wanted your damn bugs, Klaus. Okay? We didn't eat the bugs. Good for you. Don't go swimming in poop water. Influencer was brutally mocked for swimming in sewage, hits out at critics. I loved it. And look at how nasty she looks. Look at and she's out there in the ocean. She's out there in the ocean. And this has got to be out in, this is Cape Town, South Africa. The only country in Africa with a nuclear power plant where there's been an epic rise in die-offs of large species, sharks and whales and on-land elephants. Okay? And I'd imagine they're releasing sewage into the waters too, because all these Western nations, just like J.D. Vance said, they all work together. And then all the other non-white, non-black ones race to catch up. Oh, we went to the moon too, you lying dogs. No, you didn't. They didn't either. Okay? So I'm just saying it's a club of non-melanated man where they just lie like that. And they're just trying to catch up because people aren't out there rioting, burning stuff up like they needed to be done so that they could hide the carnage. The vaccine wasn't enough. Enough people fought back against it without burning down their whole neighborhoods. Enough people said, oh, hell no. And Black Us led the brigade. We led in the rate of those who said we aren't getting that damn jab. I know there were those of us who went out there and got it for various reasons. Where it's like, what, really? You're going to fire people for not getting some experimental vaccines? How friggin' against the Geneva Convention was that? Forget about democracy being in charge. This is a global dictatorship. One world government is already in order. It's already in power. But we have to agree with it. or we have to eat the sea moss and just go out. So as I said, this is about surviving the apocalypse, surviving an 8.8 quake by not just having me, your sister, share this information. There are going to be no devil confessions. They always put things, if they admit anything, they put it cryptically as hell. But make no doubt about it. Once you have enough of the information, once you've read enough stuff, you recognize their MO straight out the bat. And you don't fall for it anymore. You don't fall for it when they try to make us look like we're the worst people on earth. No, the hell we're not. Collectively, they are. They are. Okay? To do some crap like this and try to make it seem like, oh, I just love swimming in poo. Stop trying to normalize something that's absolutely insane. Okay, so which is this one? Okay, I went over the chemtrails. What's this one here? Oh, those are all the airplanes. And there we go. Iconic beach clothes after aggressive shark. So yeah, they're using the language to make it look like other species of animals fit the lying stereotypes they've created for us when they've driven most of us out of our daggone minds so that we don't know which way is up and which way is down. We get the truth, we get the facts, and we still will doubt it. We'll still go, oh, no, she's black like me. She can't be telling the truth. Hey, it says in the Holy Quran, Allah always sends a warner, always. So I ain't create myself. I'm not saying there's anything about, don't be, I ain't sending out no prayer napkins, no nothing. Ain't no cult going on here. You could go to the website and you could order our products, but they actually work. They work better, okay, than all the stuff because it's all pure. It's all pure, right? But I'm not going to tell you, oh, if you don't do that, you're in trouble with the one and only. I don't know your business, okay? I'm just saying, trust yourself as a black person, and then you'll be able to trust a lot more of us by looking, by thinking, so that you can definitively identify when somebody is full of garbage and when somebody's not. Dr. She's been sharing with me about all these freaking charlatans up here who are just handing out these, like, he said, oh, somebody has said to him that drinking cold water causes heart attacks. Now, there's a serious, accusation going on there that needs to be analyzed. That's my overall point. That is when melanin is at its finest, when it's thinking. When it's thinking. You swallow water, cold water. You can only swallow so much cold water at once, but especially right now when it's like hot, right? I know I've been down in cups, mugfuls of ice water, right? It's not going to cause a heart attack unless I was already eating bunches of stuff that would have precipitated a heart attack in the first place. But at the same time, it's in my stomach. It's going to get warmed up. Your body is going to warm it up to the point where it's not going in your bloodstream at 45 degrees Fahrenheit. That's not going to happen. Okay? So it's not going to cause a heart attack. People will just come up with the new, latest trendy thing, shocking thing to say. Like, you got some people up here who are passing off health advice, and you could tell definitively they're about, I don't know, maybe 40 years old, 30 years old. And they will say, I'm 65. I'm just like, what? No, you're not. No, you're not. Okay? It's just these people, they're desperate. They want some cash. I understand. Making a living, it's not easy. Right? And I ain't got nowhere near the money to afford a lab so that I could test our food. I should. But it's that barrier of, well, she black like me. Okay. But at the same time, I ain't lying for it. There's some money that I've always known that's too expensive. That's money that costs my soul. And I ain't playing no games with my soul. I'm going to bow down to the one and only. If I have his approval, that's all the wealth I need. The rest of it, I'll figure it out. I'll do what I need. I ain't mad at black people because I got to work extra hard to convince you of supporting your real warriors. Okay? I'm not mad at you for that. I just keep on doing what I'm doing. And over time, you're going to be like, she's never changed. 14 years and she's still talking about Fukushima. You daggone tootin' right I am. Okay? That reminds me of a great, Sister Jai Africa. I just got she left. It wasn't that she left any compliments to me. And that sister's just, she level like that. Okay? I don't need compliments. I'm going to do what I do no matter what. Right? But she has a friend. And I pray her friend is strong enough to face what she's going through, which is cancer, aggressive, stage 4 cancer, where it's metastasized, it's gone to other parts of her body, other organs. And when they say stage 4, they just mean, wrap it up, go to the hospice, it's all over. We can't do anything. They're lying. They're lying. Okay? In my firm conclusion, in my firm researched conclusion, there are plenty of things you could do. So she asked me, I told her certain things that she could do. And I said, you need my book. I was just like, I'm just being honest. Right? And then she came back, she asked me what page, because I said there's a certain recipe, a formula for bloodroot in the book. All right? And she said, what page? I went and I looked because I knew kind of where it was. And I found it. And it was on page 115. And I'm just like, I was so grateful that the sister had bought that book. That's what I made it. That's what I wrote it for. So it's sitting right on your shelf. And I didn't have to go typing all that stuff out because each case is different. Each case is specific to that individual. So I was asking the different questions because I wanted to know what organ is the cancer happening in, because that's going to affect what things you should use, what things you shouldn't use. But those are my deeds where I haven't changed. I haven't changed. Dr. Shi hasn't changed. He's only gotten more precise in his knowledge and its application thereof. The brother never stops. He never stops. And I watch him. And we'll sometimes, very rarely, but every now and then, we'll go in the loggerheads and he'll get mad at me over something. I can't believe you said that. And I'll be, I can't believe you said that. But that brother never stops. He is pure fire. Okay? So that's how you can tell who's for you, who's not. These people ain't for you. They lying like a dog, because I showed you Dana Durnford, what he was saying. Right? White dude. I ain't mad at Dana. I ain't mad at him. Okay? I'm just saying, right? An aggressive shark. That's what they put on us. But now all of a sudden it's just shark that's starving to death. Can't get no daggone food. Devouring a sea lion, which is not what they eat usually. Okay? But a couple months ago, they were saying, these terrible, awful sea lions. They were also portraying the sea lions that way. And they have made it legal for people to just go up and randomly shoot the sea lions because they're competing with the fishermen for salmon. No, there's no more salmon. The salmon is gone. The phytoplankton is gone. So the whales are starving to death. And they don't say anything about it. Okay? So here's a family's devastated as neighborhood cancer surge is traced to radioactive waste from first atomic bomb. Sometimes they'll say something that's actually like, okay, here, right? Mm-hmm. But if it's from the first atomic bomb, how come it isn't from the release of radioactive water, which has always been released from Fukushima Daiichi, because the radiation is so hot. When they built those structures, the water tanks or the radiation water tanks to house them, they weren't lined. They weren't created specifically. They were just steel sheets. They've been leaking for forever from day one, because it's not just salt water in there. It's every single isotope of radiation, right? And they say that they filter it, and Dana has said, and when he said it, I was like, oh my God, that makes perfect sense. How can you filter out the radiation and you're only going to have tritium in there? Not that tritium's all fine and dandy, right? But I'm just saying, all this other stuff is like massively hot. That's how they use it as an excuse to build nuclear power plants, because it's so hot, it boils water and turns a friggin' gigantic building size turbine, right? Because it's boiling the water. It's hot. So those tanks, them suckers have been pouring nonstop into the Pacific Ocean, which then provides most of the rain all over the planet. That is going to have an effect worldwide, but they're going to talk about the first atomic bomb. Stop. I'm not saying this isn't awful, but it's because it's a cancer spike. And that's when people, speaking about we have to do this together, start collectively saying, wait a minute, something's going on here. So they'll just say this stuff right here. Oh no, it must be the radiation from the first atomic bomb. And maybe you won't notice that we're not talking about Fukushima or all the other nuclear power plants. God forbid. I know you've never heard of Ernest Sternglass, let alone have you heard of the Radical Sister. Okay? So that's all I'm saying. These people, there's something wrong with them if you're using the definition of humanity and applying it to them as a collective predator mimic race of folks. That's all that I can say. There's some who maybe manage not to be that. Alice Stewart, oh my God, I'm just really enjoying this book so much. What a wonderful woman she was. They don't make them like her anymore. Very few. Kudos to the anti-nukers out there, but they ain't going to say a damn word about the CMOS and how it's impacting Black us, how all of this is targeted at us. Okay? So, families devastated. Yeah. White families too. That's crazy. Just like the airplane crashes. Those single-engine Cessnas and Pipers, who do you think's flying them? Not us. But they ain't saying a damn word, okay? So the next one. The next Chernobyl Soviet-era nuclear power plant is branded as a ticking time bomb that could go off at any moment. This is always the next big radioactive catastrophe. But why should they even bother? They should be, another Chernobyl. The last one wasn't that big a deal. And goodness knows Fukushima, which was like, I don't know how many 100 times bigger, and it has never stopped. That's no big deal. We don't even talk about it. So why should we care? Why should they try to fearmonger us with radiation and then on the other side act like it doesn't exist? Okay? That's just crazy. Nuclear waste from first U.S. atomic bomb. Now here they go. There was a strategy after the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs, which scared the friggin' piss out of all people everywhere on the globe, so much so that they were building underground bomb shelters. It is hard enough to do an addition on a house, let alone to go in your daggone limited space backyard, dig a friggin' pit deep enough to have a whole room made of lead-lined concrete underground, and then cover it and have it there just in case. So Hiroshima and Nagasaki freaked everybody the hell out. And that reminds me of this book. Where'd it go? Oh, I know it's got to be over here somewhere. This must be it. Yeah. This reminds me, this is how they managed to make it seem as if man-made radiation is no big deal. If you are a person who somebody shared this video with you, and I thank them for that, and if you're sitting back saying, no, my good white people, they wouldn't lie to me like that, okay? Here's the proof right here, okay? The way they measure the health and safety of radiation is through Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they thoroughly censored anybody's ability. I'm just going to put this here. I don't know if it'll go to this link. But anyway, this book right here is all about that censorship. The Atomic Bomb Suppressed, American Censorship in Occupied Japan. And I mean, I could go slowly so you could read this, you could pause it and read this introduction here. I can't afford to get this book right here because this on Amazon, I think it's like $180. And here I would have to get a membership, which I think is about, I don't know, it's something where I'm like, look, I ain't got that kind of budget. I'm really like, you know, pennies here, pennies there. But I mean, even in this introduction, you are going to get just the scope of their censorship. That's in every book I read. Okay? So I just want to, I don't even know if this is a good paragraph. I'm just like most other people. I never thought of censorship in connection with the American occupation of Japan. I have read many histories about this period and never heard about censorship. Of course you didn't. They're not going to tell you that they hid everything about the actual outcome of those bombs. They're not going to say that. They don't say that now. Okay? But I keep scrolling down just in case so you could read it, stop and read what's here. But this is what these dudes do. So when it comes to what's a safe level of radiation, they never, ever, ever examine the destructive impact of swallowing this crap. They study the outcome of it, but they use what happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki as far as a one-time external dose. That's their measure. So, oh, okay. I didn't know this part was here. I read that part up there, all right? But the atomic bomb presents to the world, and that's where it ends right there, okay? Yeah, I'm just saying, these people, they're just like, they're the next Chernobyl, okay? They're not the next. They are what they are. They're vicious. How do you, genociders? How do you speak about genociders in a nice way? That's why we got President Beto, because you're supposed to normalize depravity. We're supposed to just look and go, oh, well, he's minor attracted. What? That is not tolerable. In a functional society, your children are just sacred to themselves. Do you even have to explain that sort of thing? When you got devils in charge who are trying to hide the death of the Pacific Ocean, they make it necessary, all right? So this one, as I was saying, Cancer Curing Breakthrough, this is like the Atoms for Peace program, which is how I got talking about the bomb shelters. They developed a program called Atoms for Peace because they wanted to get Americans to calm down and to think that there was something positive about nuclear. I've read it from Rosalie Bertell's book before, where if you were against nuclear, they automatically called you a communist. You must be a communist because you're anti-genocide, right? And so now with this article here, oh, they're trying to do the same with the radioactive waste because they don't know what to do with the damn stuff. They don't know what to do with it, and they lied. These nuclear engineers lied to Congress, the U.S. Congress, every single government of the world when they said, oh, we're going to be able to figure out what to do with it. There's nothing you can do with it. It's already on our planet. All right? It has to be maintained, stored, and then restored and restored for longer than this planet has been in existence. And now they're saying, oh, it holds, chances of being a cancer-curing breakthrough. What happened with the friggin' radiation therapy? Wasn't that supposed to be cancer-curing? No, it never was. It never was. It actually causes a more virulent level of cancer. Right? So, yeah, the hell with this idea. This is more atoms for peace. Because they lost out to Alice Stewart. They didn't expect Alice Stewart. She was genuine, okay? She was genuine, white woman. She was genuine. She just went into the statistics of the rate of disease and cancer of babies born after having been x-rayed. They didn't see her coming. All because she was actually a woman physician. And they always just, because it's the white man, he's jealous of women. Okay? He wishes he had that just automatic sort of seductive way where people will just listen for no good reason, right? With like the Hollywood starlets. And so they didn't expect her type to come on in. And she came from a just regular background, even though her family, her mother was a doctor, her father was a doctor. They managed to, climb up the social ladder. But because they weren't already up it, they missed out on the programming with the elites and with the royal mindset of the British people. So when she showed up, she actually wanted to do good things. So when she started reading the stats of all the damage that was coming from the x-rays, she was like, oh, no. We can't be having this. That's what I'm saying. White people don't want to die either. They don't want to die either. Right? It's just that they've been turned into Satanists over a promise of a pickup truck and some Coors beers because they've given up hope. They've given up hope, and they've been talked frantically into thinking we are the source of their problems. Boeing, so DEI. Okay? We're not DEI. We are not pro-perversion. Right? We never have been. We still aren't. And they just don't want that to happen. Because whenever I leave a comment on Daily Mail about how, Black people, we're not really into all the wokery, they always remove those comments. Right? So, yeah, this is all this is a new Atoms for Peace because they don't know what the hell to do with the radioactive waste. That's because it's not supposed to exist in a planet that has organic life forms. It is not sustainable, not at all. Okay? And they can't build enough rocket ships to ship all this crap off. Maybe we could try that, but as long as nobody's having this honest conversation about what an 8.8 quake is about, where it came from, we might be doing some extra bowing down, right? So that the Most High will forgive us. I'm not saying about me. I'm just saying in terms of like, look at what he gave us. This planet is outstandingly gorgeous. You don't have to be rich to appreciate its beauty, its magnificence. How could we keep being beguiled by these devils? I'm just saying, all right? So next thing right here. Oh yeah, this is where like they're doing their best to pivot it on to, oh yeah, now white people could call Black people niggers. No, you can't. That is a definitive subconscious evidence of how we are a separate nation without the power to control our narrative and our economy, our self-defense, any of it. Ain't no reparations check gonna cut it. We need a nation. We need land. We need autonomy. Then you want to call us nigger? Go ahead. I'm not going to say I approve, but if we have the chance Like whenever I go to Daily Mail and try to say something that's the truth about who we are, always removed. And I'm extra polite. I don't even put my most self-healing comments on there. I'm always trying to generalize it for the white crowd, right? It's always removed because they have a strategy. They have a war plan, and this is it. Lefties, legals, and minorities are finally experiencing consequence culture. What the hell? This is some Nat Turner Diaries flip around. Nat Turner Diaries was just their fantasy scenario where we would be able to do and say anything awful. We'd be able to be in the Nat Turner Diaries. We were killing white people and getting away with it. Okay? That's not what's going on here. They just are desperate to try to make theirs justify their own terror of damnation. They know what's coming because they won't bow down. They won't. Not unless they're deemed superior, in charge, because otherwise they feel like the little guy on the court, always losing. God damn, we lost to another one of them. Can we say the N-word yet? No, damn. Hey, no, you can't. Hey, we are still marginalized, oppressed. Just your media alone is proof positive. The only people up there who are black are all Procyon loaders. Okay? 100%. I can't even say the C word up here because that's how much you want to control our narrative. Okay? So let's see. What's the next one? Let me try to get a little faster, but at the same time, I'm like, I need to talk about this stuff. COVID-19 pandemic accelerated brain aging, even in people who didn't get virus. This is crazy. This is crazy. That's the radiation. That's also in all these books I read, how it has a definitive degrading effect on your neural activity. It's electrical. That's why you see people losing a gasket flying through the unfriendly skies, the extra popping skies, because it's attacking the frontal lobe, your executive decision-making portion of your brain. And they got all the studies all over the place to prove that too. Right? Dr. Yuri Bandashevsky proved that it led to schizophrenia in the Chernobyl victims. Okay? It's getting in. It's getting in. It's causing issues. So this isn't coronavirus. This is the radiation. Okay? The rise of China's surveillance colonialism in Africa. I've seen it on my friggin' subscription. It was the Aframax English that I used to applaud because they would showcase proof of what I think was taking place in Africa, which is that they were targeted for radiation studies to see if they could destroy their melanin and cause mutations. And they surely did, in my firm conclusion. And proof that I was on point with that, Aframax English changed every single topic. They are so pro-China. It's crazy. It's sad. It's sad. And there's another one. I can't, in Czechia and Nana Czechia, something or other, right? Where they were just like going over the BRICS live, conversation or conference or whatever the heck. I was like, damn, China done bought them out. China's everywhere with their money because the satanic elites, if they have to use China to get it done, they will. They will, because China is brutal, brutal. They have spent a couple generations teaching those people nonstop Satanism, only they called it communism, based on Mao Zedong's Little Red Book, which is all about if you need to kill 1 million, just go right ahead. Right? So when you see, I'm like, they keep saying, oh, all these powerful African leaders are kicking out these Europeans and begging for the Chinese to come in as long as they'll give them some kickbacks. That's all it is, bribes that they're getting. Right? But the Africans, the beautiful African people, are so demoralized, so embarrassed. That's when you lose civilization, when you forget it's about being humane to one another. So they're just like, whoa, and then here's Zero Hedge trying to make it seem as if they aren't doing the same thing on over here. How many people have, even to the point where it's simply a news article, that you'll be talking about taking a trip to Spain or something, and next thing you know, you're getting all these ads for tourist discounts to go to Spain because they're listening. Then they're going to act like China's something new. No, it's just that China has absolutely no apologies for it whatsoever. They're despicable. Okay? So what's next? And that's all I'm saying is that China's working with them. Okay? China's knows about the man-made radiation. Every single one of these nations that has its own nuclear facilities, they know. They know. Okay? So if they were so against the West, they would have said something about Fukushima for real, not for fake. They would have said something about the whole corona hysteria thing. Now let's see. Oh yeah, that was me going over that other article at the beginning. Here, this I got from Dana Durford. Congenital heart disease operations rose 14% directly after Fukushima nuclear accident. I'm saying directly, but yeah, it's just what happened when I would talk about the heart attacks, the increase in heart attacks, sudden cardiac arrests, especially among the young and athletes. I'm not joking with what I'm talking about. I know a lot of people are like, she can't be telling the truth because otherwise CNN would discuss it. Do you see what they're doing to all these news agencies that have lost the general public's respect? Because most people, they're looking for truth, but there's so much chaos on social media and so much censorship, they're getting a whole bunch of grifters instead. Okay? But I'm just saying, I give you the facts and the data. It is what it is. Let's see, what's next? I think I'm coming up to the close on all of this. Let's see. What's there? Fears grow as paralyzing disease moves into new U.S. states. This is the same thing that I had talked about before. And now they're blaming mosquito bites. They're going to put it, I'm supposed to, Zika virus. Zika virus never caused paralysis, never caused microencephaly, which is what they were also blaming it for as soon as Fukushima happened. But that is a feature. If you look at Dana's share, he goes over the children towards the end who were severely mutated because of Chernobyl. That's from the radiation. And so they're getting more paralysis because radiation interferes with your neural network so that your muscles aren't getting signals anymore on how to move your legs. And it's happening most definitively with the children. They were calling it fasciitis, myelitis, flaccid myelitis. That's what they were calling it. All right. And I documented, I still have all the documentation where they themselves said it got started on California, out on the shores of California. Okay. It really got started with the sailors of the USS Reagan. My condolences, because I'm sure probably all of them are dead by now. They're so evil. They're so evil. They've always put their enlisted men and women right directly in the line of fire of atomic test weapons. That's simply an atomic bomb. Okay? They put them right front center. Oh, here, wear these dark glasses or close your eyes. I read a little bit where one of the soldiers said the light was so bright with his eyes closed, he could see through his hand the bones, the blood vessels through his hands. He had his hand over his eyes, and with his eyes closed, he could see that. That's wild. You think they don't know about this stuff? Of course they do. Of course they do, right? And so they know this ain't no daggone West Nile virus causing paralysis. Stop, right? And what's this one right here? U.S. volcano come to life. That's them cores in the planet. They're not supposed to be in our planet, right? Let's see, do I have any more? Let's go. Okay, just 4 more over here and a couple pictures. Flesh-eating bacteria kill 4 in Florida after terrifying surge in infections. All of a sudden? Whoa, what a coinky-dinky. Radiation acidifies the prevailing environment everywhere it is. That is favorable to acidic life forms. So that's why you see a surge in all these friggin' Latin sounding words. Fasciitis, well, necroses, where it just is eating away your flesh. And there's nothing that they could do about it besides inducing coma. And then oftentimes the people wake up and they have no limbs left. When have you ever heard of something like that? Never, never. It's the radiation, all right? Let's see, what else is, and if it's not the radiation, I'll be the first one to say it. And the fact that there's a secret evacuation off the West Coast going on. That's why they have all the homeless up like that. And the other live I did, I'd mentioned that you don't see any Western nation anywhere with tents built up on the street. You don't even see that in third world nations. And all of a sudden it's happening here because these people are so leftist. Like Karen Bass, who happened to go to China to be educated. When you see black people like the BLM folks, those chicks who were like, oh, we're coming against the black male patriarchy. What? Where? I'm running to it. Okay? They were educated in China. Right? They're working together. That's what I say, right? So when you see all these, there's so many rich white people selling their mansions, so many businesses closing up shop and getting out of Dodge. It's a slow, quiet. There's probably even a friggin' like a waiting list because they don't want everybody to leave like boom overnight. It's probably waiting. When do I get to leave? When do I get to leave? Here's your number. In 2 years, you can move. Right? Sell your house to the Chinese because the Chinese don't care about their own. So they'll have their own little millionaires, billionaires, or the CCP officials go and buy up properties on the West Coast. Remember how fast they cleaned it up for Xi when he came on over? Right? That was his insult to, what's his face? I forget the former prime minister over in Canada when Xi let him know, who you trying to be funny towards? You don't know what's going on here. They don't often know what's going on, right? And so they know they want China playing a pivotal role in taking over a whole lot of crap because they know that China's going to come in and they will not be sympathetic to anybody. They'll kill who they need to kill. They'll do whatever they feel needs to be done. And especially even the enlisted Chinese men are really pissed off with the CCP. But when it comes to black you and me, they just figure you are the lowest on the totem pole. They will shoot us down with not a thought about it. Not a thought. I'm just telling you what's going on. They're working together. Okay? So yeah, Maria Sharapova, whoever you are, she's lit. She's gone. Who else is up in here? Oh, Poopy Girl. And what was this? Let's see. And that's about the earthquake. And what else do I got up over here? Oh, yeah, the book. What did I have here? When the U.S. military gave people radiation poisoning, the study effects of nuclear war. They sold the lie that you could have a certain level of radioactive contamination and people will be fine. It's a total, complete lie, and they know it. They know it. I read that in so many books, right? Where they admit this stuff is just going to eventually, after like 2-3 generations, wipe out whole species. They know it's not possible. But they don't give a damn. They were testing people and they didn't even tell them. They do no follow-up studies because they want people to move. Same thing happened with 3 Mile Island. That's why you don't hear any follow-up like, oh my goodness, everybody came down with cancer. It's quiet. You don't hear a word. So that you'll keep going with the illusion, the delusion that's been infested into us that radiation's no big deal. Even with the Fantastic Four, I think the new one, they're in a spaceship and they get hit by the radiation of cosmic rays. And they come back and they've got superpowers, right? They emphasize that because they want to feed the new delusion that nuclear is back. No, it's not. There's plenty of people, more people than me out there who know what the hell this stuff does. It's just they hide them. And this crew right here who would fight this hard, they're dead of old age. And that's probably what they were waiting for with Fukushima. They'll wait till the last one dies. Is Rosalie gone? Woo, boy, set off Fukushima. I'm just saying, it has nothing necessarily to do with the guys who have those fancy little hats. I'm just saying, right? If there's a juxtaposition between those two things, like, security force looking over a Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant, and infesting the computers with Stuxnet virus. I'm just saying it's a coincidence that I happen to mention all that at the same time. Okay? So, yeah, this is what these people do. I read about all their experiments in Lisa Martino Taylor's book, Behind the Fog, right? Where they just nonstop. Don't ask anybody anything. Don't get permission from anybody. They just are like, boop, there you go. And I found out through reading Rosalie Bertell's book that Prognosis for Radioactive Earth, I forgot her book name already, and it's a very simple name, but Rosalie Bertell, that they figure the way they get away with this, the way they justify this, because they always want to think that the predator mimics. And to be a mimic, they themselves want to believe that they are the best. So they have to justify what they do, even if it's like goringly ghoulish. They justify it by saying, well, that's their culture. Their culture is to be stupid. Their culture is not to believe their own. So we could do whatever we want with them because they're like cows. Where have I heard that? I'm just saying, okay? They're like sheeple. They're farm animals. Right? Even when it came to, like beware the mark of the beast with the whole vaccination thing that had little, nano tags in it. I'm sure by now the nano tags are out of your bloodstream unless you kept going to get the boosters. But I'm saying, what else do they tag? Farm animals. Creatures that they figure the Most High has given them authority to be stewards and masters over all of it. That's how they think about all of us. I'm not going along with that. I am a full definition thereof human being. I know when you have a predator in your community, you never give up. You never stop. You rejoice because the Most High has made it evidently apparent who the real beasts are. Okay? So let's see. I think I'm almost done. This is a long one, I know here, right? Oh, that's the same story. And that was, this one goes over it in detail. The human radiation experiments at Hunters Point. They just, they were just like, oh, let's try this. Oh, what else can we try? Oh, let's spray you off of Pruitt Iago housing complex. Right? Just on all the children and the old people and everybody. Yeah, let's do that. All right, now let me go on over. I had a bunch of downloads that, these aren't that important. Okay, I'm done. Let me come back on over to the StreamYard. Where are you? Oh, you're going to be back over here. There you are. All right, there we go. Ah, I love you, family. Thank you for coming on in. Let me greet everybody. I do too, Sister Marietta Yisrael. I love our earth. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It is in our nature to love the natural world. I don't, they try to make it seem, because notice all the movies, we were like amazing farmers. That's why they had to invent all of these different mechanical equipment to compete with us, because we had 6 million acres of land. That is power. That is a nation. And they couldn't compete with us. Right? Imagine the basketball court, the football court. Only it was what we eat. And they need to find ways to keep us thinking we are the cattle. All right? So yeah, that's Earth is us. So let me greet everyone who came on through. Beloved Sister Deborah Jefferson, cherished Sister Gwen B, beloved Marietta Yisrael, and Yappa Yappa. I miss you, my brother. I surely do. All right. And who else is here? Up in here? I don't know. Brother Speed, Saint Speed. I don't know how you say your name right there, but S8 Speed. Greetings to you, beloved. And it's one of them folks. And Abby Do. Good to see you, beloved. And who else is? I should go over on the YouTube, because that is always, everybody gets to protect the chat room, and that's the wonderful thing. There we go. There we go. Protect the chat room. There we go. And there we thank you so much, Sister Gwen V. Let's keep it rolling down. Oh, that is all the way at the bottom. Let's see. And Abby Do again. Oh no. Ooh, okay. Oh no, Abby Do. That's the quake in Russia. Yes, the 8.8. Indeed, beloved. And I think I got everybody. So let me go down all the way to the bottom. And thank you so much, Sister Gwen B, for putting the link to our website. Thank you so much, beloved. And please don't forget to plug your books. Oh my goodness, here's that my upcoming novel. Oh my God. Oh my God. The book is so good. It is breakneck pace. It is like total destruction, chaos, and then Black You and Me, just like, whoa. I got fight scenes, explosions, not too many because I want a story, okay? But, and in the thick of that is Black Love, and I am so close to finishing. It's just like, I had to step away a bit, plus I had so many other little duties to do. But it gave me a better perception of the characters, because the characterizations, everybody is so three-dimensional, so complete in the way their just mindset is just so complete. And so I stepped away so that I could compose the ending more, just absolutely completely believable. I can't stand when you're watching something and then or reading something and it falls apart at the end. So I didn't want that to happen. And then there are all the other books on 25,000 Year Cycle. Let me go on over there, as a matter of fact. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, right here. This is our website. And there's healing here. Massive healing from people who love you, people who, we aren't going to play games with you, without a doubt. When we put something together, we mean it 100%. So you could avail yourself of the Let's Chat. On the weekends, I think you can still call and do a free chat where Dr. She will work painstakingly with you. If you've got some diagnosis, he'll do that extra research, and he knows the sources to go to. And he's also working with the Arna Nation with their doctors. So he has a group to just go over symptoms and other protocols and strategic methods to get you free. All right. That's all up on here. And then the different ailments and hurdles that we have to get through. He's got all of those different things, like his organic hydrosols. I always use his rosemary hydrosol in caring for my hair. And there's just so much that he has up here. Roots. This stuff works. Roots, hair and growth, scalp. That this is both male and female. And it's the soursop. The soursop leaf extract, we grow the soursop. So I can't put the label on there organic, but that's what it is. It's soursop I grew from a seed myself, and I got organic soursop seeds. I planted them. I've got 2 soursop trees that are just like, they grow. I even got my moringa trees, which are just like, they're gigantic. I have to cut them down because literally they're trees in our house. But I'm just saying that this soursop comes from our soursop, 100%. The Silcare cream, which is so good. Dr. Shi, he's not shy. If I make something and he doesn't like it, he's going to let me know. Like I baked myself an orange cake the other day. And that man, he broke my heart. He broke my heart. He didn't like the cake. He said, too sweet. And maybe it was a little bit sweet. I wasn't really in the mood for hearing that right then and there. But he's not shy. If I do something and it's no good, he's going to tell me. He uses a Silcare cream exclusively all the time. And the formula is perfect. Initially, I think using the lavender in combination with the silver didn't work. So it would degrade quickly. This, I've been using the same jar of Silcare now for a year now, and it will get a more yellow color, but it's still potent. It still has the same refreshing scent. And when you put it on my skin, I mean, I do not attribute the health, the overall health and vigor of my skin to just Silcare cream. As I say, I'm going to tell you the truth, okay? But at the same time, that stuff is so moisturizing. You're going to love this stuff. It's just amazing. And it has the colloidal silver in it. So it's also, according to reports, colloidal silver on contact kills all predator pathogens and viruses and funguses. And for myself, I found that to be the case, where I had a little heat rash that popped up a couple years back. And I was like, let me try my Silcare cream. It's got the colloidal silver in it. As soon as I put it on there, the heat rash disappeared immediately. When it comes to, mosquito bites or anything like that, I put that on there. Immediately, I am relieved of any, itching or anything. I'm just telling you all this is good stuff. And the soap also is just, it's all pure ingredients. I saw a commercial for Ivory soap, and they had a black grandma and her black granddaughter, and she was taking a bath, and she was also good. They were also like happy. That's what they're going to do. And they were like, why is does it say Ivory so pure? And I looked up the ingredients because I was like, they must be lying. They must be lying. And truly, it has just 9 or something ingredients in it, and they all look pretty serviceable. But it's made by people who hate us. It's owned by Unilever, right? One of those that still produces skin lightening cream. That is like the #1 selling in all of these nations, that they have a little bit more melanin, but they can't stand what it does, that it makes you black or blacker. It doesn't make it black like us, but it's real good stuff, right? When you purchase from someone who loves you, does not care if there's anyone out there who hates you. I know who you are. you're getting the real pure stuff because it's made with, you know, all of my energy, all my good intentions. I love making soap. I love making soap. It's just true. So you're getting that in the Silk Care, in the soap. It's just there. You're getting that with all of Dr. She's products. All right. I'm just saying what it is, and I'm talking too much. But let me go on up here just so that I could show you the where you could go to find my stuff. Is here with Anjali Shabazz, and you click on that, and all the books are here. These books remain powerful, potent. This black, when I finish with the one I'm writing and doing an audio of the book I'm writing that I won't tell you the title of because the title's so good, it's so good. Yeah, I'll do one of this black because this book remains just outstandingly entertaining. Okay, and also I love this Black Nation. I really love this novel. I liked it better than this black, the first one, but at the same time, what I'm changing in my current novel is I'm writing this one so that I can do the audio and you don't have to go and run for a dictionary. With this Black Nation, that might be the case, but at the same time, it's on point. And then this one. This is the one that Sister Jai Africa had in her bookshelf to do what I made it to do, which is to be a reference guide when you have the inevitable outcomes from man-made radiation. And I do definitively believe that that's what they don't want us to know about. You know, I could come right on over to back to there. And let's see, move. There we go. That's what I do believe that they are trying to do, because when I offered it on Amazon, Dr. She he knows how to do all that technical stuff. And he put it up there on Amazon. They put it in the pornography section so that it was hidden. And that's not accidental, because the hunt with the man-made radiation is to get us. If they get caught up in all of this, that's simply for them, you know, you got to fumigate the whole house. And if you're in the house while it's getting fumigated, then stuff's going to happen to you. But the object was to get rid of what they feel are the infestation, even though they're the infestation if they're destroying the entire planet, which they are. Okay, so that's it. I think I said all that I need to say. There's new comments, and then I'm going to get on out of here. Oh, thank you so much, Sister Marietta. I really appreciate that. And beloved Sister Archangel 1105 Remix. And good to see you. Now let's see what you're saying over here, Brother Yapo. And I'm going to go back on over. Who was I? Right over here, I think. No, I was. Oh, that's. Oh, goody. That is. That, and maybe it was over here. Was it over here? Yeah, there we go, right there. All right. Let's see now. What were you saying, Brother Yapo? Here's a link to the bottom. Oh, thank you. Oh my goodness, I've got to get that. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. To read free. I love you. I love you. Thank you so much, brother. I need that book. So I was like, okay, I got to save like $5 a week or something like that so that I could get that book, because we need to know their evil doing ways 100%. It's just like, I'm like not even mad. If you want to go do pink on pink love, good, go. Please, I love a planet. If I love the whole planet, why wouldn't I love diversity? Real diversity. That's self-sustaining. But if you're going to destroy the planet, I do not love genociders. I do not love destroyers. Okay? And you seem to have a historical habit of doing that. Okay? So that's the way it is. All right. Mwah! Peace and straight black pride and power and love to all of you. Woo, we are amazing. Peace. I love you. Woo, I got to go all the way up over here in order to get out of here. Yeah, I know, I'm real silly. Love you, family. Peace.